Welcome back to Global. I'm John Sopel. The news we've been awaiting all afternoon, and that is what is emerging from Egypt. It does seem there is some information coming in now. Let me just tell you what we've heard in the last few moments. Egypt's President's National Security Advisor has said that a military coup is underway, has also warned that no military coup can succeed against popular resistance without considerable bloodshed. Well, let me just say, yes, so what is being said is that what is happening is in Egypt is it is tantamount to a military coup, but it does look like there have been rumours floating around that perhaps President Morsi had been put under house arrest. Now we're getting this from Egypt's National Security Advisor. Well, with me in the studio, Professor Gilbert Ashkar from the School of Oriental and African Studies here in London, and author of the book The People Want, and also with me Tarek Osman, author of Egypt on the Brink, From Nasser to Mubarak. It's a competition of the books, but let us first deal with this important breaking news that I've just given you. What is your reaction?
I mean, on the face of it, there's nothing really new until now in this breaking news. In the fact, I mean, the fact that Morsi is de facto under house arrest has been in the news for several hours already, and the accusation by the Muslim Brotherhood that the army is about to undertake a coup, it has been with us for 48 hours already. So,
but the fact that they've come out and said this publicly seems to be a significant.
They've been saying that very, very publicly. I mean, it wasn't any secret thing.
I would say it's significant news, actually. To a large extent, there have been a number of scenarios being put forward. One of them was to continue somehow the process that has been going on while empowering a new government, but to go all the way of stopping the process entirely and take such a dramatic action. This could be a very, very significant development.
Yeah, I'm just kind of bring you scraps, and we're getting scraps of information, which is often what happens when you get a major event unfolding. Apparently, the U.S. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel has spoken to his Egyptian counterpart. Also spoke with him last week. That is being reported from the Pentagon. A Morsi advisor says expects army police violence to remove. And he expects police violence to remove pro-Morsi demonstrators. That is coming in, and has also said that a military coup brings with it huge bloodshed. So these are the scraps of information. We don't have a concerted statement, a detailed statement yet. Is there any chance that Mohamed Morsi will say, "Okay, I'll go quietly"? Go on.
I mean, they've been playing basically a chicken game, you know, between Morsi, between Muslim Brotherhood and the army. And I guess that the Muslim Brotherhood, with their very intransigent attitude, were trying to negotiate something with the army and the opposition. But it's very difficult to tell what the outcome will be, because that's why I said in my view that there's nothing new yet, because the real event is still is still ahead of us.
I just want to explain the pictures that we're showing now on our screen, because we've split the screen and we're showing two demonstrations. One of them very sullen. That is the pro-Morsi demonstration on the left-hand side of your screen. And on the other side, you have the anti-Morsi demonstration, where everyone is waving their flags, presumably because they believe they are about to prevail.
Yes, however, I think really the question right now is not what will be the course of action that President Morsi will decide upon. To a very large extent, as you're showing your audience, the country is divided, and each side is at least millions of people. So whatever happens in the next few hours will determine the immediate future, yes. But whether it will solve this huge social divide, certainly not, under whatever scenario. So the problem is that this social division, I think, will continue and will manifest itself in many different ways. Some of them are potentially perilous.
Can you navigate of any peaceful path through this? I don't know, a technocratic government with Mohamed Morsi as the titular head, but, you know, shorn of a lot of his political power because he's had to accept a massive compromise.
I mean, you can't have really a halfway solution in this confrontation, because either he keeps, you know, the official power in his hands, or he loses it. I mean, if the army imposes a change on him, then he has basically lost power. But what is happening basically is, I mean, I can't help, you know, thinking of January 2011 when I see all that. It looks like a remake of the situation of January 2011, but with the musical chairs having been played in the meantime, which means that in January 2011, you had the Muslim Brotherhood, plus the opposition to the regime, liberals, left-wing, whatever, all of them in Tahrir. And you had this very tense confrontation, and you had this expectation, people waiting for the army to say something. You know, the army became the savior, and people were expecting that to happen. And now what you have are the supporters of the old regime, and the opposition, the liberal and left opposition, and this is the Muslim Brotherhood who are in power, and the people are still looking towards the army as the savior. I mean, there's something which is basically common here is, I think, what I would call illusions in the role of the army as a kind of arbiter in this kind of situation. And people speak of coup. This wouldn't be the first coup in this revolutionary process that started in 2011, because Mubarak was I mean, overthrown by a coup.
But surely what is extraordinary about this, Tarek, is that they were free and fair elections. This is someone who was brought in on the popular will of the people. It may have been divisive, it may have not been what everyone wanted, but he won the election, and now, a year later, people who are saying they're Democrats are saying he's got to go.
Back exactly to the point of it's a social division. So it's not really about the milestones of the political process, elections and then constitution and parliamentary elections. That has been happening, but wide segments of Egyptians feel that the shape of the future that's being put forward right now is not what they want. And on the other side, also wide segments of Egyptians believe, yes, this is what we want. And in my view, this social division on the identity, really, on the future, on the shape of the future, is the real problem in Egypt right now. But back to your point, is there any peaceful solution? I don't know, but there are elements that we are sure will change. So it's almost certain right now that the current legislative structure, in which the upper house is the only legislative chamber, this will not continue. We are sure that the fact that President Morsi has control on the executive power will not continue. It might change. But some elements also we're sure will take place, such as the parliamentary elections, probably sooner than we expected, for example.
And where does this leave political Islam? Where does this leave the Muslim Brotherhood?
Well, in a very bad shape. I mean, they lost a lot of credibility ever since ever since the revolution triumphed in February 2011, they have been losing ground. I mean, they had their peak at the time of the parliamentary election, and we have seen where you had a landslide for the Muslim Brotherhood and the Salafists, and then they have been very regularly losing ground until this very moment when they become the target of the largest mobilization Egypt has probably ever had. So, I mean, this put them in a very difficult situation.
The Muslim Brotherhood is certainly the largest political Islamic movement in the Arab world and arguably worldwide, but it is not the entire Arab political Islamism. Remember, there are other political Islamic movements that are ruling in the Arab world right now, in Tunisia, Morocco, and other places. But the future of the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, of course, will have very wide ripples across the Arab world.
Yeah, but I mean, basically what's happening in Egypt is also echoed by what you have in Tunisia, which is the other country where they came to power through an uprising, and they are facing the same difficulties, actually. So it's a very big blow for the movement as a whole, yeah.
OK, both of you, thank you very much indeed. We have not had a statement yet from the Egyptian military. That is something we have been awaiting. But the President Morsi's national security advisor has said that something tantamount to a military coup is underway amid rumours that President Morsi is under house arrest. Of course, we'll be following this story very closely here on BBC World News. Do stay with us for continuing live coverage from our correspondents on the ground and analysis here in the studio. You're watching BBC World News.